Hey everyone, it's Mike with It's Pittsfield Tonight. It is Monday, June 3rd. I hope everyone had a great weekend. We couldn't have asked for better weather. There was a lot happening this weekend, and I guess we're going to have some pretty busy weekends coming up for the next couple weeks. You have so much going on. It's that time of year. So this weekend, Saturday the 1st, we had the Harry A. Bateman Memorial Jimmy Fund Fishing Derby at the Frank Controy Pavilion at Onoda Lake. This was the 32nd annual one, and I believe it was a record-breaking crowd again. So that is awesome. I mean, and it was a lot of people. I'm guessing 350 and up, somewhere around there. It was a lot of people. So very successful event. And again, it's a great family event, and it's not just about the fishing derby itself. It's door prizes and giveaways for so many children in the community, and then of course the prizes for the fishing derby, and there's different age categories, and it's just a great gathering. And of course, most importantly, that raises funds for the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute through the Jimmy Fund. So really important one. So huge success, and I was honored and excited to be a part of that one, which I try to never miss those. Coming up, I did do an interview, so sometime this week, maybe towards the end of the week, because I have so many different things I'm posting, I'll be putting up an interview that I did with Joe DeSico, and that is covering the Strikeout Cancer, which is a baseball softball game that anyone can participate in. It's $10. You get a shirt and you play. There's different age groups, all age groups. And when I was talking to Joe about it, you know, I did mention that the last one I attended, there was a grandfather, father, and son all in attendance at that. So that's one, again, that raises money for the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute through the Jimmy Fund. And we're going to try to make this year a record-breaking year for them. Last year was, and we're going to try to top that this year, because these are so important. And there's so many people that rely on the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. And it's so important. So that'll be coming up towards the end of the week. I have a bunch of business promos that I've been working on forever. Those will finally be coming out this week, and some new ones, and some more business owners that have contacted me. So I'm working on that. I'm quickly filling up. There's a couple slots left, but it'll be a smaller business tour, kind of like the ones I used to do. And I'd love to do another bar tour. That was so much fun. But anyway, there's all that other stuff coming up. Trash, we'll be talking about that in the city of Pittsfield until that goes through. And as most of you know, you've heard me talking about this for weeks, the tote system that is being proposed by the city. And right now, the way it stands, they're proposing 48-gallon trash tote, 48-gallon recycling tote, and then if you need an additional trash tote, it would be $160 a year that you'd have to pay for that. It'd be $40 a quarter. If you need an additional recycling tote, those would be free of charge for extra ones. But I put the first post up asking people what they thought, and overwhelmingly people thought the 64-gallon was the better option, that it was kind of meeting a lot more in the middle. You know, I've lived in communities where the 96-gallon is what they implemented, and that's the largest. And I don't think anybody's asking for that. 48, in my opinion, will be tough for a lot of people, and they're going to have to purchase another one. I get the premise behind this, which is to encourage more recycling, but you know, that takes time. And you can't just throw something on people. You got to kind of work into it, and you have to educate, and there has to be public service announcements. I feel like we kind of have a tendency of doing that here. We make sudden changes, and they're always in a dire situation. And it doesn't, when you're in that type of situation, it doesn't leave a lot of time or room for discussion. But I think we will come to some kind of conclusion on trash. I fully support a tote system. I have for years, even when most of the city council didn't. So, which, hey, I'm glad they've come around. I mean, you go throughout the country and you'll see where that has become the standard, and it's effective, and it keeps things more organized and cleaner. It reduces littering, and it will encourage more recycling, but it keeps the neighborhoods a lot cleaner. And as many of you know, there's neighborhoods on trash day that it's unbelievable, the piles of trash. And as soon as those garbage bags go out and the crows and the squirrels get at them, there's garbage everywhere, and it becomes a problem. So anyway, we will be coming to some kind of conclusion on that sooner than later. But nothing is set in stone, and you know, I think there is maybe even a possibility that the 64-gallon will be where we could head. It's what the majority of the population is asking for. And some of the arguments on it that, you know, it's 64-gallon is going to be too big for some people to get to the curb. Well, how do you get your trash to the curb now? If a 48-gallon is okay for you, a 64-gallon only weighs a couple pounds more. You don't have to fill it up. You can still get it to the curb. And if you're somebody who's disabled or elderly and you're struggling already, there's different things that can be done with that. But how are you getting your trash to the curb now? But I think absolutely the tote system is the most effective way to go. It looks like it will happen, I'm sure. It's just coming to a final decision on the sizes and where we'll go from there. So we'll be talking about that. And speaking of dire emergencies, having to make quick decisions, many of you saw, I'm sure, the last council meeting, the boiler systems at Pittsfield High School is being discussed again. And, well, not again. We heard a little bit about this not that long ago, but it kind of wasn't a main issue and fizzled out. Everyone knows the heating system at PHS is horrible. It was horrible when I was there, and that was a long time ago. So that's something that now they're saying it's done, it's finished. The boilers are not that far from 100 years old. I didn't think the building was that old, but maybe. I thought it was somewhere around 80 years old, but not that far from 100 years old. And there are 3 older locomotive boilers, and that they're off, and they're not going back on. One of them is completely done. Another one's close to done. They have to be replaced. So they came in saying, look, this has to be done now, right now. It's an emergency. It has to be done right now. It's going to be a lengthy job, a big job, and it has to be completed before school reopens in the fall. And they requested to borrow $3 million to get that done. And there was a couple, like the local paper did an article on it suggesting that the $6 million would be the total price tag we were looking at, because I do believe that they already allocated ARPA funds for this. I remember when that was approved. So I thought that was a million that already was designated from the American Rescue Plan Act to go towards that. So I think a price tag of around $6 million total is how I understood it and how I read it. Who knows? You know, I don't know if that's exactly right, but that's how I interpreted that article. I did watch the council meetings, and I do know that they did designate ARPA funds previously for $1 million, and now they just asked to borrow $3 million, which was approved. The finance director for the city, Matt Kerwood, said that right now the bid that they're dealing with, I think that the company that they chose had a price of about 2.4, but he felt it better to borrow 3, and that money eventually, if not spent, would find its way back into however they were arranging that. But that he's asking to borrow a little over because he said you don't know what's going to happen. But the remaining, his quote is, if the entire amount is not needed, the remaining unused balance will be rescinded at some point in the future. So 2.4 is the replacement bid, and they asked to borrow $3 million, which was approved. That seems like an awful lot of money, but again, it's another situation where there's no time for discussion on this. It's got to be done, or they're not going to have heat in the schools. And I was looking at just some basic research. 7 years ago, the White House replaced their boiler system, which was to heat just shy of 56,000 square feet, 30 hot water for 35 bathrooms, and that came in at 1.9 million. So unbelievable that in 7 years, the White House's boiler system was 1.9 and Pittsfield High Schools will be 6 million. Unbelievable. But again, it looks like a lot of this is getting the older boiler systems out. According to the iBerkshires article I read, iBerkshires in there said that, the building was basically built around these. According to Mr. Filio, the person in charge of this, I don't know what his actual title is for the city, but he's the one who was overseeing a lot of this, or all of it, said that the building was built around this heating system. And there has to be cranes brought in. These things have to be taken apart. It's going to be a huge job and very time consuming. And that's a huge part of the cost. $6 million. That's amazing. But again, what do you do? It's another one of those situations where we started, it's like, we tend, it seems like quite a bit to talk about fires when they're already on our doorstep. You see the fire coming and we wait till it's literally on the doorstep. This is something that if it's under this much urgency, why wasn't it pushed harder already? Wauconah Park is another one. A lot of people are going, hey, what's going on there? Are we just going to lose that park? Is it eventually just going to fade away because there's other things we're talking about? The Suns aren't there right now. I mean, is that just going to eventually just kind of go away and that's the end of Wauconah Park? I hope not. When we got the grant money to redo North Street with bike lanes and parklets, and a lot of that was based around COVID at the time, and it was pushed through quickly. We got to get it done because they accepted the grant money, and I remember that. It was like they accepted the grant money in September and they had till October. They had like 2 weeks or something. This has got to be done and the money's got to be spent or we're not going to be able to do it. So it was push it through as fast as you can and let's get that done. And of course that failed. If many of you remember that, they had the bicycle lane on the inside, parking then another lane, and it was almost like cars were parked in the middle of the street. Well, not almost, they were. That was a disaster. Nobody was happy. So then they changed to that and to the phase that we're in now, and it sounds like they're going to change that again, and we're going to go into another phase. But Commissioner Morales said that's still in a pilot phase for 4 years now, which is amazing. So, I don't know. That's another one. But again, it's pushing things through at the last minute. I don't know why we do that. That's not, if anybody ran a private business that way, they'd go out of business quickly, I would think. You have to plan for things ahead. So again, the thing with the boiler systems at Pittsfield High School, it has to be addressed. It has to, or they're not going to have heat. And if they don't have heat, the school can't open. So that's a major problem. So this has to go through. But again, it was approved, and we'll find out what the final cost is. But they borrowed $3 million, and I believe they already had $1 million that was designated from ARPA, and then whatever else is coming maybe from the city, or who knows where the remaining sources is all coming from. But that's that. So we'll see where that goes and how soon that starts. And it sounded like they needed to start on that as soon as possible to get this done by the fall. So, all right, well, that's it for now. Again, there's a ton of stuff coming up. A lot of business promos this week. I have a special video coming out later today or tonight going over, well, not going over, but highlighting the 32nd annual Harry A. Bateman Memorial Jimmy Fun Fishing Derby. I put some photos up, but I did a special video for that. I like doing that. I like highlighting a lot of the children that won door prizes and won fishing prizes, and because it's such a cool family event. And you love seeing these little kids so happy and being involved in something so positive, and then knowing that the funds raised are going to the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute through the Jemmy Fund. That's huge. It's such an awesome cause. And this weekend also was the Pride event at the Common, and I heard that was a big success. Great turnout there. So there was a lot happening. But anyway, I wanted to mention that. So that is it for now. Videos coming out tonight, and then every day for the rest of the week. There's another fishing tournament coming up that I'll be doing a special video for that, and just a bunch of stuff going on in the community. This is the busy time of year. I thought about doing a fundraiser. I hate doing those. You feel like a politician when you're panhandling. But this gets so expensive to do this, just to travel and time and equipment, but I'm going to try to make this happen on my own dime right now till, yeah, anyway. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a fundraiser or not, so the people that have asked me about that, I'm not sure. Anyways, for the 10th time, that is it for now. Oh, I'll throw a big thank you out to former City Councilor Karen Kalinowski for coming to the Derby at the Harry A. Bateman one. Our Mayor, Peter Marchetti, was there and stayed for a little while, and I think we had another City Councilor there. I don't know why that's slipping my mind right now, but there was another City Councilor in attendance, and it was a great event. So it was nice to see that the mayor was there, and I think that was the first time since Jerry Doyle that we had had a current mayor at that tournament. So that was great to see that, because that really boosts things up. All right, again, that's it for now. Everyone, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, be kind to each other, leave all the drama and for the other pages that like to make memes and make fun of people and do all that. Don't do it on here. There's plenty of other places that participate in that. You can go do it there, just not here. But be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and I'll catch you all in the next day or two.